relaxing, ain't it? "2,000 people watch me every night. Found that very hard in our place, haven't you? Will you bring me a drink, please?"
Yeah, not a problem, man. Oh, Chad. Didn't see yous over there. Welcome back to another episode of Wayde's World. Proudly brought to you by Wayde himself, in accordance to the truth. Now everything said is based on individual experience or individual research. So thank you all for coming on and tuning on in. So from here on out, let's open the door to the next episode. Welcome to Wayde's World. Kia ora, kia ora, kia ora. Welcome to Wayde's World, whānau. We're back again, and we're back with another person who's been here a couple of times before. I know that everyone likes getting on and having a listen to the kōrero that he brings, and obviously that I can bounce off him too with the history and sort of the mythology of the world as well, that I guess has been pushed to the side and made to not seem so real as real can be. So, again, I must say thank you for giving your time, bro, and I appreciate you coming along again to bring this to the table, because there is a lot of people out there that have, they hit me up and ask me to, when's Corey coming back on, or when's Corey doing this, or when's Corey doing that. So here you guys are for part 3, really, of a discussion between me and Corey. It'll carry on for how many parts we need, but we're in part 3 at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll pass it over to Corey. He can introduce himself as he always does, and yeah. But thank you, Corey, bro. Appreciate you coming over and giving me your time again. It's always a pleasure to have you here, bro.
Oh, big shout out, my bro. Thank you very much. It's always good to be here on the show, and much love to all the people out there catching us today. Yeah, I ain't got much to introduce myself today. It's been a big week, and got a lot to share, I suppose. Because we were supposed to do this, when did we have this planned? Actually, the week before last, wasn't it? To jump on.
It's about a week and a half ago, sort of thing. Yeah, but we've all got lives to live at the same time, don't we, bro?
Yeah, and certain things come in the way, and distractions, or whatever you want to call them. So as long as you just keep on going the way you want to keep on going. So, yep. Thanks for having me on, bro.
No, welcome, brother. You're welcome. Well, first things first, bro. I guess there's only one thing to start off this conversation with, and in my opinion, it's something that is going to have ramifications all around the world and felt everywhere in the world. So the Queen, bro, the Queen.
God save the king, they say. God save the king.
So just while we're here, and I might start off with quickly, if you don't mind, bro. I'll start off with a bit of numerology in regards to the Queen's passing, but and some obviously some other things that have arisen since then. But obviously we've got she died on the 8th of the 9th, 2022. Same thing goes as we look at that date, that is Saint Mary's birthday, or the Holy Mary ritual day.
Got you. Yeah.
So there's Holy Mary. So she did die on the 8th of the 9th, 2022. It was the 9th in New Zealand, or in the Southern Hemisphere, but the 8th in the Northern. All right. So that's your first plot that we look at. Now we look at the whole numbers of the death, and we look at, it was the largest harvest moon of all time. So it was the biggest harvest moon ever. She died, or she was announced, her death was announced 3 days prior to her, 3 days prior to the full moon on the harvest moon. So there's a 3 for everyone out there if we're talking numerology. And I'm just gonna, there we go there. And she died on the 8th of the 9th, 2022. So 8 plus 9 plus 2 plus 2 equals 21. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. So there's your 3 again. You've got 2, 3 starting. So you take the 3 days prior, which is the date, and then you break down the date, which is the 3 as well. Gives you the first 6. She died at age 96, so 9 plus 6 equals 15. 1 plus 5 equals 6. There gives you your second 6. The time of death in the southern hemisphere was 3:30 a.m. So 3 plus 3 plus 0 equals 6. And that gives you your 666, which gives you your day of ritual. In layman's terms of numerology around here, and obviously the beginning of a cycle with Elizabeth the first dying at the age of 69, so the complete opposite. So yeah, I thought I'd throw that one out there, bro, and I hope you don't mind me throwing the numerology out there, but it's sort of just something that I had a look at.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's something that we're all trying to relearn, eh? And I think it's very important to, and it's really good that you started off with this, with the mathematics of it all, because like, it's all good, very well talking about it, and but what is the actual ramifications? Why do they use these times, these dates? Why do these things happen at certain points? What are they trying to do in terms of the quantum strings and chords to continue their power struggle? You know what I mean? You know what I mean. You could probably discuss it a lot better, but I kind of had an epiphany because with me, I don't really know too much about the numbers and that kind of thing, but what I do love, and that's the geometry of the planet, the geology, the structure of physics and the atoms and everything. So, and then why do they always hold these rituals at the same specific places all the time? What's your theory?
Oh, look, my theory's got a lot to do with, I think we spoke about it off camera, bro, but my theory's got a lot to do with ley lines, the energy cycles of the world, or the plane that we're on, or the realm that we're in. And yeah, it's all to do with energy, ley lines. It's all to do with obviously lining up those numerology dates, and it's because the way the universe runs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can break everything down into binary code, which is the same code that the computer runs on, that the computer that me and you are talking to right now runs on binary code. Light codes breaks down into binary code. Energy breaks down into binary code, which also pushes us into the realm of, are we in a simulation or not, which is going into a whole nother corridor of where we are at the moment, but definitely sparks the mind on that side of things. So I do think if you look at it in that fact, that they found the way, or the mathematics of the way that the world is run, and so that if they run on these numerologies or these dates continuously, it sort of builds up like a tolerance too. You sort of build up a tolerance in your system. It's kind of like if you repeat that the same time over and over again every year on the same date, you're creating that energy cycle.
Yeah.
That's what I think anyway. That's what I believe is that. And yes, you use the power of either the numbers of either 3, 6, or 9, which is the powers of this universe that we live in, or multiverse we live in, or whatever you want to call it. Join them together with a repeating what would I say? A repeating just a repeating human habit, or a loop here, creating a human habit, or a loop, or a and you create that, you're going to create that energy cycle, aren't you? And then every time it lands on that date every year, you're like reboosting it again and reboosting it again. I don't know, that's just that's just my opinion on it.
The it's easy to describe it in those things, but then when you bring in the fact that that emotion,
Yeah.
you know, which are abstract concepts, but how much they play a part to these scientifical kind of mathematical equations that, you know, we're kind of trying to bring to the table. And you know, let's look at the hate that's being directed at the Queen at this very point in time, this one particular person, and it's all going directed straight into where she is, basically, you know. And let's look back in history. Westminster Abbey, I mean, I've been there. In at Westminster Abbey, there's, you know, 1,000 years worth of kings buried. All their bones and shit are there, basically. And there's always been, I suppose, resentment towards the royals, and I wonder if this is the traumatic response that they're trying to continue to loop over and over again. Is this, you know, kind of just hatred for the people who are in charge of us, and because that's where I see this reset going, because all of a sudden, all over the newspapers, everyone's talking about the Republic. She's fucking been dead, what, 5 days, and everyone's already talking about dismantling the whole fucking system. Wake up, it's a motherfucking reset, niggas.
Yeah,
And
public release 5 days and straight away, bro, everyone's straight on the straight on their Republic buzz. And the thing is like you're saying there, wake up, is because this is the way they want to go in the Republic, not the way humanity wants to take back and become a republic. This is their way of taking a republic.
Yeah, exactly. With their fear loops, with their destruction of all of our ancient traditions. Now let's not get this wrong. The Queen, I was watching a doco on the Queen, you know, the day after she passed. It was already on TVNZ, but one thing that she said about the coronation, and it really kind of struck home. She said, you know, in our mundane, boring lives, every once in a while, we take part in an event that makes us remember the steadfast traditions and remembers who we are as people in general. And because in a world of constant flux and change, these traditions are powerful. And I can only, you know, being a Māori, I can only agree with that. I can only agree with her and that concept. And I can't, and I really struggle with thinking that she is someone that was trying to take away tradition. And it would only seem that people who kind of aren't proud of their traditions try and take other people's for themselves. And you know, that's why they're going to dismantle this coronation, or might be the last queen ever, who knows. But I'm a big supporter of tradition, because you remember, you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from, mate. And we've said that on this podcast before. So
yeah, we've said that a few times, bro, and we've also said, like, you know, I'll be honest, bro. I'm straight up, like, I don't hate the Queen, but I do understand what part she played in it. You know, there's things that she could have done that she didn't do, and there's things that she should have done and didn't do either. And there's things that she'd done or what we've been told that she's been done that shouldn't have been ever been done.
Yeah.
You know, including 2014. For anyone out there that hasn't gone and had a look at the Queen in 2014 and what she was actually charged with, that is all up online and places. It's very hard to find any at the moment. But in saying that, bro, I agree with you. Is the fact is that without,
Yep.
Oh, sorry, without her doing what she, playing her part in this role, again, just like everything else, we wouldn't be a waking up to the world if they hadn't all played their role.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know?
I'm not advocating for the Queen. I'm not advocating for
No, I know
those
where you're
power
coming from.
structures.
Yep, I know where you're coming
Um,
from.
I just can't deal with fucking hate in this world anymore, man. That's it. And that's
You
just
can,
coming from a purely selfish perspective, I suppose. I can't push hate anywhere myself anymore. So, and it's not a matter of judging people who do. It's just a matter of, I don't know, disconnecting from those people that do want to throw hate so easily around the world now, because that's what they do to us. And because they disdain any challenge to their power. That is what they hate, and that's why they hate us, because we can challenge their power. And you know, that's why I pity them.
absolutely, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
They've, yeah, I do pity them as a sense too, because it's even looking at their family, it's just a fucked up family too. Like, they're royals, but they're royals by default. These days, I've always said, if you don't like the royals, get your army together and go roll Buckingham Palace. Like, we're still in those times. Nothing's going to stop you from going to, if you want to go and take your kingdom back, go take it back.
Yeah. And
Like,
if there's a thing that really understands family values or haputanga more, it's most likely the fucking royal family, man, because they've people call chiefs who fought with the Pākehā kupapa or traitors, but really, if you were the descendants of those people, you would know that those people were just doing everything they could to try and help help their family along. And you're absolutely right, bro. If that's the case, get your army together and go and fuck with these cunts. It's the same with other big families around the world. Your Pablo Escobars, your big Mexican cartels. Those are big families that have been able to historically get power, right? So, and in honesty, they can fucking keep it. I mean, I'm a broke ass Maori, grew up in Auckland, and I look at the choices that I've been able to make because of the freedom that I have, and then I kind of compare them to the choices that I probably wouldn't have had if I had that power. Is it power? I don't know. I don't fucking see it as having any power. And just kind of just pawns within the whole fucking game.
yeah, and let's be honest, bro. Like, one of the things too that a lot of people forget is we actually tend to get away with a lot more than those fucking up top people. Like down lower, we might just be the slaves, but we get away with a lot more than what people think, and that's where I sort of look at that whole thing as well, is like, and that's why I would never want to be someone that's up here, on a pedestal, because when you're put on a pedestal, you have pedestal fucking values that are going to go with that pedestal. I'm the type of dude that's going to fuck up out the back and say sorry and be like, oh, sorry, man, like, I kind of fucked up a little bit, but I'll sort it out, whereas when you're put on that pedestal, you've got the expectations of the pedestal to come with it, and it just it can be a burden as well.
Yeah, just like everything's a burden and a gift, whichever way you want to look at it. So yeah, and it's been.
Sorry, what I was going to say is now what you were talking to me about on the phone, I think it was yesterday when we spoke, but you now pulled up the start of the new cycle, didn't you?
Yep.
So Elizabeth's gone. We now have Charles back at the moment,
Number 3.
number 3. Then we go to his son, which was William.
That's number. He's number 9 or number 8.
William. William. He will be William the 7th. I think. Is it 7th? I think it's 7th.
No, he's 6th.
6th. There you go. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, William the 6th. Sorry. So then we've got William, and then which would drop down to his son, which is George.
George, and he'll be
George. George will be George the.
He was 7th.
7th.
Yeah.
And then you have the non-royal bloodline, which is Harry, or as we should say, his real name, which is Henry.
Is it? Is that his original title?
His original title, his real name is Henry. Now he would be Henry the 9th, I think.
Yeah.
If he was to come through, yeah. Now, if you look at the predictions of the Nostradamus that everyone's posting up lately, is that Charles will step down. See, I've always said that Charles wouldn't have taken the. He's always said, and the words from his own mouth was said that he would never take the crown. So, I was surprised when he signed on the dotted line, pretty much. But he won't last long. Even taking the Nostradamus predictions out of it, I believe that he wouldn't last long anyway. He's been too much of a shadow worker in the background with things, to be able to take that limelight spot anymore. I believe, but just like the Queen's uncle Edward the 7th, who abdicated from the throne anyway. I'm unsure if he was coronated. I don't actually think he was. Do we have a date on when Charles is actually going to be coronated? We don't have a date at the moment.
A date for that yet?
No, I haven't seen a date for that yet either. But I saw him sign the pre.
Okay.
He signed the pre-document, but like I said, I just don't see him lasting. He's just not a king.
Nah.
Doesn't quite fit the bill.
Nah. And William's pretty family is like perfect. Too perfect. Yeah. Big Willie style.
It's Big Willie.
Well, the first William that took over England, they didn't call themselves England prior to him. They were the Saxons, they were Mercia, they were, it was split. They were still the Anglo-Saxons at that point. It wasn't until the Norman invasion of William the Bastard, who in 1066, that England actually started calling themselves England after that. And they
what year was that, sorry, bro?
1066.
Okay, yep.
Same time when he was the same one that did the Domesday censuses, which then led on to Magna Carta 200 years and that later. But he was the first ones to I suppose do a census of the whole of England. And he's French. He's French. From Normandy.
There you go.
And he was a bastard.
They're always the best, aren't they?
You know it. Always up to tricky shit, those fellas.
Well, there you go, bro. The ascension of Charles was officially proclaimed king as the event of the new sovereign taking the throne upon the death of the previous king or queen. King Charles III, while Charles was proclaimed king on Saturday by the Ascension Council at St. James Palace, making him Great Britain's next monarch. He is yet to be coronated in a separate, more elaborate ceremony.
Oh, so the coronation's nothing?
No, his ascension's already taken place. His ascension to the throne.
Yeah, see, that's definite. That's the ancient rule and shit, eh?
Yep.
Is minute that's the king dies, the next one takes over.
Yep. Pretty much instantly.
Then what's up with the coronation? I mean, what's up with the fucking like 5 hours of prayers? What's up with God being anointed, anointing these people? Why did the queen, before she got coronated, why did she go through an ancient Welsh ritual leading
Yes,
up
she
to it?
did, didn't she? At the stone altar, eh?
Yeah, in
That's the one in the
Glamorgan.
green dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also missing photos. I don't have the photos, but if anyone does find them, and they're all wearing big reindeer masks and fucking headdresses and shit like that. Now, it just came out that while I was researching this stuff, that she actually had that initiation removed off her in 2014, maybe I think it was. I have to re-look at that date. So I'm wondering if that, they found out about those kids and then they removed all of those ancient Welsh powers away from
Well,
her. I've been doing a bit of fucking Welsh mahi ever since you and I have been talking about it. And
heaps there, eh, bro?
I still can't put my finger on it, but it's definitely got to do with that dragon. As we were talking the other day about the female dragon lines and the masculine dragon lines of the chakras, and what I think those are the actual the energy that goes throughout the whole universe. And the Maori talk about that when Matariki and that comes, that it's a serpentine energy that goes like this all over the place. But
well, it's funny you mentioning that as well, because remember, like we found that every other sort of chakra or world chakra intersects with the male and the female dragon lines. The only world chakra that doesn't intersect with the male and female lines was the heart chakra, which was what do you call it? Stonehenge. Stonehenge, and which is like the dragon slayer.
Well, no, the St. George is the dragon slayer.
Yeah, sorry, St. George, yeah.
What Stonehenge is would have been the ancient kingdoms. So you got am I left or right? I don't know. You got Wales, you got England, you got Scotland up here, and it goes down like that. You got Wales that comes with this little bump off here, and then you got Cornwall, which comes off the end off here, and that's where some of the most ancient stones and that. We always end up going back to talking about ancient stones, don't we, bro?
Oh, it's always stones, bro, but it's all good.
It must be stoners.
Hey, bro, in all honesty, bro, like when I had a past life regression done, I came from the builder race.
Yeah.
So stones, it is what it is.
I love rocks. I always love them.
I'm tending to like rocks more than that these days, now that I understand them a lot more.
Yeah, true that.
Yep.
Did you know that the inner circle of Stonehenge, which is the more ancient circle, is of the ancient? It's of the bluestone of Wales. So they've come a lot further than the big, massive trilithons that are the outer ring of Stonehenge. So the inner ring is, they transferred those something like fucking 2,000 k's all the way from Wales to get to there. And if anyone knows, most of the stories of King Arthur, and all of that all comes from Wales. Camelot, I think is out on the coast there, and Bath or something like that. I don't know the area of Wales too well, but I'm not going to fuck up their language too, because it's the most hardest language in the world to try and like shit.
Try and speak that.
Yeah.
And then which makes it funnier, because the connection back to New Zealand, like I brought up with you the other week, my great grandfather was a Welshman, and he was black as all hell, and he was living up in Waimamalku.
Just
So,
living the dream with the other black fellas.
yep. And they thought, bro,
Fitting
like,
right
and
in.
all, and they thought he looked, and they thought he was Indian.
Yeah.
He used to get asked if he was Indian, but he was a Welshman, and his parents were born here as well. So, how long have they been here too?
How many who knows how many words we can get of places around the country that are actually Welsh. I used to live on Glamorgan Drive on the shore there in Tor Bay.
Yep.
Glamorgan is a Welsh word. The Brynderwyns, which the big mountain that separates kind of Welsford and Whangarei. Well, that's quite an out of it one, because Brynderwyn, it's a very vague, very, I don't even know why they named it that, but I finally came across the what that's from, and it was from the Battle of Brynderwyn, where the last king of Wales fell, I believe, or one of them. He was involved with that. The last king of Wales, who was called Llewellyn, and he fell to Edward the First. It was King William the Conqueror, the bastard. His son, I believe, was the one that took over Wales, and or subjugated Wales. And then that's, I think, I don't know when they brought that St. George's Cross into things and started calling themselves the Dragon Slayers. But it's got something to do with that. It's got something to do with their power over those divine energies.
Well, it's hence the red dragon on the flag too.
In Wales, yeah.
The Welsh red dragon. Now, there's also the rumor of the white dragon too. Well, I shouldn't say rumor, or the mythology, or the myth of the white dragon too. And everyone speaks of the white dragon, when in reality, from what I've heard from the Welsh side of things, is that the white dragon was the evil of the two, or the bad one of the two, and it was the red dragon that actually was the protector. And the red dragon got defeated by the white dragon, and put to sleep for like 1,000 years or whatever. Kind of like the 1,000 years of not having peace, the 1,000 years of war and stuff like that. It was kind of like that helps with their caught it all up there. Is based on the dragon talk.
Well, there's a symbol way that they've got that's very similar to the yin and yang symbol, that they've got the red and white dragon kind of in this eternal struggle, eh?
Yes. Yep. And the Chinese depict the life circle as a dragon eating its own, a reptilian eating its own tail. So there's a lot more to it than what we really think, and yeah, but it's gone a long way since I think we've taken the conversation quite a step away from the Queen now.
We're still on it. We're still on it.
She's still here.
We're still talking about that big red cross that they use in the middle of the haki, the middle of the Union Jack, So
I've got my own theories on that cross, in all honesty, and I believe that cross is actually a good cross, not a bad cross.
It's just like everything, bro. Intent is where it's at. It's not a fact of the symbol being good or bad. It's the fact that the symbol holds power, and whatever is being intended through that is the fuck up, or the good thing. Who knows?
The way I look at it is, if you look at, say, like the Satanist cross, for instance, right? Look at the Satanist first. The cross is further down the bottom. Look at the Christian cross; it's further up the top. So you've got too much bad, too much good, and the St. George cross in the middle is like the even, like the even energy flow. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I take it on. It's kind of like saying, look, everyone's got an even, like an even energy flow. It's not too good, because same thing as if we always run around being all love and light, it's just as toxic as being all negative and down the bottom. So That's the way I look at it. That's the way I've always looked at it. It's just it's even flow.
Well, the ancient, a lot of people don't realize, but before we thought that a good idea to, symbolize Christianity is, by the thing that killed out the savior. Whoever thought that was a fucking good idea? I don't know. But the original symbol of Catholicism was just the normal cross. Well, it was just, the even cross. So,
yeah, well, you look at all like I went into this out the what is it, Toda Ranges out the back of Levin there.
Tararua.
Yeah, thank you, brother. And I went out the back there, and we're coming back through, bro, and there was like no shit. There was this matte black, and I'm going to be honest here, a matte black bloody church in the middle of nowhere that was about 5 feet by 5 feet. And I drove past and I was like, what the fuck is a church doing in the middle of these ranges? Anyway, I'm like, light bulb just goes boom, and I'm like, we're going to have a look. Like, I'm not just driving past this and not going to look, And I went back around, and just as we pulled in there, this fucking old Greek fellow was just walking out of the church as we were driving in.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, come on, come and have a look. You can go in there and have a look. And I was fucking looking at it, but every cross in that, is it Gnostic, Greek Gnostic or something like that, was the anyway.
Yeah, I've been there.
Every cross in there was an even cross. It was a St. George cross. It wasn't a Christian cross or a Satanist cross. And then I was like looking at all the paintings on the roof and that, and like I was saying to dude, I was like, bro, this is all coding up there, right? And he was like, nah, that's just the artist's depiction. I was like, no. That's why there's 4 of those up there, because you need the 4 codes for the 4 dimensions. You need rah rah rah. It was all in there, bro. And
have you got the painter's number by any chance there, bro?
But just like, that's the one thing I took away from it was the cross.
Yeah.
The cross was depicted as like the St. George cross, just a straight cross. It wasn't anything big or small, but fuck, bro, most out of it. You know the church I'm talking about then, don't you?
Yeah, I've been in there. I was in there probably on my way down to Huck to the Beehive the first time. And randomly turned up to this place. The minute that you started talking about it, I was like, yep, I know the place.
Yeah. It's got 3 little rooms in it, eh?
Yep. You go in. They didn't allow me into the holy of holies bit because I had a whole bunch of degenerate looking people that we hadn't showered for probably a week or so at that point. But what was real buzzy, bro, is that I did some karakia and went did some vocal toning in that, and the whole place, bro, fucking just vibrated, bro, and just started going whoa, and everyone was kind of buzzing out and freaking out. But those guys are going to be pretty grumpy at us, I think, telling the whole bloody nation about this place. Because did they let your missus in?
Yeah. Yep.
I see.
There was me. I was with both my partner and the Woke Collective female too.
I'm sure they told me it was male only. Yeah, females weren't allowed inside the church itself.
Oh well, they walked in straight behind me. The dude was just like, "Oh, come on, have a look."
Wait.
And I had a look, picked up the fucking Bible that was on the front there, had a look at that. Then went out to where they do all their baptisms and their little Christian or their little cross pool out the side. But the dude, gave us, I have to be honest here, the dude gave us all his, gave me all the time that I could have got off him, just spoke to me about it, didn't say anything negative or, didn't put anything else down, was just like, come on in. And
cool.
It was cool to see. It was fucking cool to see. But at the same time, I'm like, what the fuck is a church doing out here in the middle of the ranges?
And you went down to Gladstone Reserve, just down. So you go a little bit before, and you turn right. Like if you're heading
Mm.
towards that church, you turn right and you go down to this little park area, and there's a river there.
Yep.
Well, there one time I was washing my greenstone in the river, and my bro dropped his sunglasses into the river. So I got up quickly and tried to go grab the sunglasses before they were going down the river. Fucking jumped in the car, took off. Fucking like a week later, I was like, oh fuck, where's my fucking greenstone? And then I had in my dream, bro, like I had in my mind that I remembered taking it off and putting it somewhere and going, oh, it'll be safe there. And it looked like it was in my car, like where you put all the coins and, you know, there's that little coin thing. So I looked in there 20 times, and it wasn't there. And then it took me like 2 or 3 days to click. I was like, fuck, that was a dream or something. My fucking greenstone's in the river. So I put a post out on the Levin page, and you know, not with much hope. And like 2 or 3 days later, this chick got in touch with me and was like, "Oh, my friend found a greenstone in the Levin River. Like, here's his number." So I got in touch with this guy, beautiful guy. I won't say his name. But what was beautiful, I went all the way back down to Levin, fucking 6-hour drive from Rotorua at the time to go and pick up my greenstone. And he was like, you know, my whole life, I've been looking for stones in rivers, and my whole life I wanted to find a greenstone in a river. And he says that day I just felt like my whole life was complete when I found the greenstone. But when I pulled it up, it still had a, you know, my the strap on it, and that it was in the river for a month.
Holy shit! And you got it back.
And I got it back. It's been lost again now, unfortunately.
That's you don't have a clue where it is?
Eh?
Don't have a clue of where it could be?
Not a clue. Oh, I've got some clue, and I kind of think I know what sort of mahi it's up to now. So, but the key to that, bro, I have to, and sorry to digress so much from all of this, but this is the, you know, it's the reason why that church is there, is because that place there, Tapue's Taniwha must live there, I don't know. But the one thing that made me really click was to the whole do not worship false idols.
Yep.
That greenstone was not mine. That greenstone was its own stone. And I put so much of my own power into that stone, thinking that if I had lost my stone, oh, then I've lost my power. But the true fact of the matter, I didn't lose shit. If anything, it made me more powerful with understanding that I didn't need to have my greenstone to be who I was. And that's what it is about, not worshiping false idols, not putting faith into things that basically is silly. It's just silly, you know, because you're the power. And after that, the greenstone, well, it's on its own journey now. So
yep.
So
I've had one that had its own journey too. Sorry, bro. I've had one that went on its own journey too. So
yeah,
go.
You're buzzy like that.
This one's been on a bit of a journey too. This one's been sort of here, there, and everywhere. So
yeah,
ended up in spots where it shouldn't end up, and now it's just fuck. It doesn't come off now.
I mean, yeah. If there's a chat section down the bottom, can you tell us about your stories about your greenstones? Because fucking, I've had about 5 different stories about people having buzzy as ones, you know.
Yeah,
and I'm like, fuck. Yeah. So
there's some power behind. There is definitely some connection, you know, between the stone and us anyway, and
yeah,
putting our power into it. But like you said, 110% agree with that, bro. Is like it's your perception that is what makes you who you are.
yeah.
When in reality, take this off, you're still the person just without the greenstone on.
Yeah.
Same person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's all about being complementary, eh? Not about
Yep.
being dependent on things. It's about being interdependent
Yeah.
in your independence. So no. And that's a whole energy level thing in general.
Fucking hell. Fuck, I've been sidestepping through a few things at the moment, haven't we, bro?
So going back to the Queen,
Yeah.
she died 2 years ago, apparently. I've got all sorts of reports. I've got 2012, I've got 2016, I think,
Yep.
and then 2020 was the big one where everyone started talking about that she was dead. I made a prediction on Queen's birthday this year, June the 1st, that she'd be dead by June. It was a couple of months out. But so yeah.
Look, my opinion on when she died is I believe it was I believe it was towards the end of 2019. The reason why I stick to around about the end of 2019 is because that is when the COVID shit started. And because that shit started, mainly in the Western world, which is Australia, New Zealand, Canada, that sort of things. But who's copped it the worst? Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And what is the same connection with those three countries at the same time? The Commonwealth. The Queen is the reigning monarch of both Australia and Canada, but we obviously we have the treaty that we keep talking about. We have a different agreement with them, but when there's no crowning monarch, means that there is no law, which means they can implement whatever they want to implement while the Queen is not there. So they keep her secret and start implementing Agenda 2030 with the help of Mr. Charles, who's Mr. Carl Schwab's mate too.
Yeah, that's right.
And Epstein's mate. So you've got Mossad in there from Israel. You've got China in there with the UN, and then you've got Carl Schwab's in there as well. And then you've got the Queen. So once she goes, we keep her on ice. We'll keep it quiet for a little bit. We can start implementing everything, and then when we are pretty much ready to implement what we want to implement, we announce her death.
Do you think that Brexit was part of that plan?
Yeah.
How?
Well, it's because you're kind of trying to create you're creating it like the division in the middle of Europe, right? You're creating a division over something that really means nothing. It's a bit of paper. How would I sort of articulate this? To me, yeah, it's just all about creating that extra division. It's creating another line of division between countries, citizens, people, everything along those lines.
Because a lot of conspiracy theorists or whatever would consider the EU to be, the biggest thing about the globalist agenda, and the Brexit being a big positive for the independence of England. And I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, they're both part of the plan. They control both sides, and that's what people have to really understand. Like I said this to my missus the other day. I said, well, because we were talking about countries, and I said, well, who the fuck says this is this country and this is this country? Who does this? Who did that? Who put this into place? Like, who put this boundary into place? So at the end of the day, it's all just land with a marked boundary on a bit of paper. So what's the easiest way into create the EU, bring everyone together? So, all right, we've got all our fucking banking systems, we've got all our everything in one system. All right, we might need a fucking war soon, so we'll just fucking take one of the group and we'll make them the minority and we'll pull them out. That creates the division. It's kind of like World War II, where you had everyone in Europe was together, but everyone was against Germany. when in
True.
fact, if people actually go and watch the documentary called Hellstorm, for anyone out there, if you go and watch Hellstorm, you'll see what the actual opposite effect of that was.
Mm, mm,
It's divide and conquer. We're going to create an evil entity within the EU to say, hey, look, these are the bad guys. Then we get 10 other countries looking at this bad guy,
yeah.
create the one world government.
Interesting, yeah. Because you can see that mirrored exactly in the East as well. They did it with Japan, Japan being that one separate superpower that invaded all the rest of the cunts, and then they were able to establish China, basically.
Yep. And then you see China, and you got Taiwan within China now too.
Mm, mm,
It's divide and conquer. There's got to be a bad guy somewhere, whether he is the bad guy or whether he's been made out to be the bad guy. You know what I mean? It's I guess the way they look at it is they always need an enemy.
mm.
They're always at fucking war.
Oh man, she's a big job, mate, because I posed that question because within Māori sovereign groups, there's the big kōrero that of the sovereign order. I don't know if anyone's heard about the sovereign order, but apparently it's a whole bunch of sovereign bloodlines around the world that all are ordered in this group. And during the time of Napoleon, and they wanted to cut Louis's head off and shit like that. Well, they moved the sovereign bloodlines to New Zealand to be harbored by the chiefs here, and that's why so many of people in New Zealand have royal bloodlines within their Māori whakapapa.
You got fucking Bethlehem down by the mount, don't you?
Wanganui, yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, sorry, that's Jerusalem over there. There's a few Jerusalems around.
Yep.
Bethlehem by the mountain, yeah. And here's an interesting thing that I heard about Brexit, because at the moment there's a Māori group that want to come and bring their take to the King's Bench. Now, I don't know exactly what 100% they're talking about and how the process of that, or what the true difference is between a Queen's Bench and a King's Bench. I can't see why there would be a difference in terms of...
The only reason, sorry to butt in, bro, but the only reason I heard of the difference was that the king goes to war and the queen stays home. That's the only difference that I've heard, is that the reason why a king has more authority than the queen, the king goes to war. The king's speak is better than the queen's speak because he's supposed to go to war. That's the only reason I've ever been given.
Sorry, my brain just going like 20,000 years back, and and just going, okay, yep, okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay, and that it's the sovereign orders and those bloodlines which have been dismantled, attacked, destroyed by the bankers, is the way that it's been described to me. They're the bad guys in the world, guys. They're the merchant class that have always wanted power over the top of the aristocracy. And because at the moment as well, there's a big conflict within Māoridom, He Wakaputanga and the treaty. Well, let's get rid of the treaty and let's just go with He Wakaputanga, but it's actually the treaty. And then the proponents of the treaty say, well, it's the treaty that has all of the protections, and that otherwise would have been, all of the land would have been bought up by the rest of the world by now anyway. So the interesting thing about the Brexit that was told to me is that because of, I think it's Article 3, where it says people in New Zealand will retain the rights and privileges of British subjects as they do in Britain. Now, because of that, it's a mirror, goes back to Britain. And because the EU at the time, because COVID was coming out and they were, and all sorts of stuff, and they were slapping England with all of these trade things, and England essentially was losing their sovereignty. Well, it was actually, they brought out the Treaty of Waitangi that said, well, actually, look, we have these rights and privileges under our sovereign cunt. Shut the fuck up. We're going to do what we want. And it was actually the Treaty of Waitangi that solidified British sovereignty outside the EU. And it's a buzzy concept. And I
can see that.
I got a lot of respect for the person that told me this as well. So, you know, if anybody else out there has an interesting point on that, I'd like to discuss that further.
Absolutely, that would actually be very interesting around that.
Yeah, because that's where I'm really struggling in terms of republic, in terms of ancient alliances, in terms of, you know, divine rights, basically. It's just the same in Māori, or is this a program that we've been fed? The same in Māori, we had divine rights to rule. And whether or not these divine rights to rule are what needs to go, you know, is this what we wipe off the planet, or are these the structures that actually keep this planet fucking together? I don't know.
That is a deep question, really, because that is correct. Is look, in all honesty, at the end of the day, a republic, a country, a corporation, whatever you want to call it, it's there because of paperwork, isn't it? Either way we look at it.
It's there because of order out of chaos, basically.
Yeah.
You know, in Greek mythology, everything started in chaos, and essentially it's our continual fight against chaos, or else we just get swallowed up by the void again. To try and create some sort of order for something. Now, you know, another thing, we were talking about the chakras of the planet the other day, and I don't know which one we were talking about, but there was that one that moved around.
That was the third eye chakra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense. And to me as well, you know, I've met a few buzzy fucking people out there. And if you think about mathematics and geometry, and you think about the atoms of the makeup of these people in general, well, the codes within them have abilities to you know, how do you put it, bro? Use those codes within their DNA strands to actually communicate with the past and the future. So,
well, technically, yeah, that is exactly what I try and tell everyone is that within our DNA, we have every step back of every generation that's come through. Like, we have all the answers. Yeah. You know, and that's within everyone. It's just within our DNA, and it's about us trying to unlock those memories. Are really to find, I guess, the real truth. Because I'm just down the road from Gate 11, which is Lake Taupo. Gate 11, which is, again, you look at 11, the numerology of that, 11, 1 + 1 is 2. So 2 is actually the lowest negative density you can have to survive, but it's also, you need a low negative to have a high positive. And we know that the southern hemisphere, being the southern or the southern plane, is more negative or more negative than positive. North is more positive, south is more negative as well. Hence why we're right down the bottom. We're pretty cold right down the bottom and right up the top. It's just because that's where all the energy is coming in. It's it's cold. Energy's cold, so coming through the water.
I guess that's why I thought, personally, I think the Southern Hemisphere has the ability to negate the history of the Northern Hemisphere. It's like they've had that power for so long, like as you were saying, the red dragons had it for that long. Now or the white dragons had it for that long. Now it's time for the red dragon to have it. It's a matter of negation. Probably why there's so many cool fellas like us in New Zealand. So yeah. But then all waiting on that pole shift too, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, but see again, like I'm just going to bring this up. Sorry to bring this one up again, but the pole shift, we'll talk about it more in another one. But a pole shift, everyone's waiting for a whole 180 flip. Who said it's going to flip 180? A pole shift could be 1 degree. It could be half a degree. It could be fucking 0.1 of a degree. Like it's a pole shift. It doesn't have to be a full magnetic flip. Because if we did go a full magnetic flip, like we're going to hit a point where it's side on as it's flipping, and there is going to be nothing. There is going to be no power, no energy, because it's going out that way and going out that way.
Well, there's a reason why you chuck the rugby ball like that, eh?
Exactly. Because you're going through the energy. You're slicing the energy. Yeah. But there's definitely there's definitely going to be some things that people just need to sort of I think reel back in. I think some people have gone to we've gone to this point and we've just taken the step further where that step further is actually creating that fear.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like we're trying to get away from fear, but then people come into this to create more fear.
Yeah.
When in reality, like I say to everyone, as long as you know what the fuck's going on, if shit happens, you can deal with it on the spot.
Well, that's how I would counter information getting out that I don't want people to know. What I would do is create more information around that information that seems to make sense with it, but it's actually bullshit, just to fuck with you a little bit more. And
I know all about that one, brother. I know all about fucking with people like that more because I do it on purpose every fucking day.
Yeah, and that's called trolling, basically. Yep. And the powers that be have been trolling us for ages.
Yeah, now it's our turn.
Yeah, we've learned how to do it.
Yeah, I've learned how to do it. You can bring out your CIA-made bloody memes. I'll just bring in my mind tricks.
Yeah. CIA memes. Yeah.
Bring my Jedi mind tricks instead.
I'm not the Maori you were looking for.
Yeah. No longer. Please give it up. Stop trying to chase us down and take our land, all right? We just want to be all good. We just want to live with the rest of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
I had some pictures prepared.
Yeah.
Bit of a little bit of a rabbit hole for the viewers today.
I like those ones.
If might as well bring something up for today. I'm surprised we haven't shared anything yet.
I think, like you said, I think at the start of this is we've kind of had to change our discussion on where we were leading, just because we need to speak on the Queen. We needed to speak on that. Yep. We needed to speak on because the Northern Hemisphere, the ripples from what happens in the Northern Hemisphere go straight into us. So and I always say that too as well. These things may happen over there, and everyone's like, we're down in New Zealand, everything's all good. But at the end of the day, we have documents signed with England, we have documents signed with the Britain and the Crown. So even though the Crown has nothing to do with the royals, but the royals are the crowning sovereign on top of the Crown. So we do have a connection there, and I guess we just had to go a little bit of a different direction. There's going to be many of our chats because people keep bloody telling me to hurry up, get Corey back. When are we going to hear from Corey again? When are we going to, bro? That's probably the worst message I get all the time. When are we going to hear from Corey? I'm like, ring him, ask him how he is.
Don't ring me.
I'm done ringing him, bro. Like,
yeah, I'm shit at answering. Don't ring me. Yeah, I basically I do what I do, and I do it whenever I want. So
that's why it takes 2 weeks to get an hour of Corey's time.
exactly, and yeah, I struggle with getting Corey's time as
No,
well.
me too.
So, you know,
I struggle getting Wayde time. That's about it. Yeah.
So on that, we've had stuff signed with
Yep.
with the Queen, and let's go and have a look at some things that started around those times when we
Now, are we?
and we had our time with our Queenie. Okay. Boo. What does this mean as picture somebody drew?
Oh,
Ah,
foo.
looks like a married fella checking out a mean as white chick. Oh, but in the middle of it is a crown. The far something's in the way of making things better around here. Now, as I said, I don't know when the bullshit all started. I don't know when, you know, because I've been talking to some people about, you know, occultist influence within the royals and shit like that. So let's just look at some occultish symbols. Firstly, just down the bottom, we got the silver fern. And they use the silver fern in place of the laurel wreath, but and I guess, you know, when we're talking about the southern and the northern flip, they've got to use different plants and that kind of thing to differentiate the physics of the two places, I suppose. But the one I'm talking about here is this little sheepy in here. And I've seen a few people talking over the last few days, actually, and you know, they're like, "Oh, it's a fucking sheep," and they're like, "Look how horrible it is! It's getting like yanked up," and that's true. The other symbol is basically the Southern Cross. We know what that is. The grain that there is meant to represent our agriculture that they were planning on doing here in New Zealand. That hammer and thing there is meant to be about the industry and the mining that they had intended here for New Zealand. I'm unsure what each of the three ships are.
I don't know, but that symbolism wise, 3 ships with 3 sails, and then four oars on each of them. 4, 8, 12. That's 12. 1 and 2 is 3. You've got these 3 as well.
How many flags? 9 flags there.
9 flags. Perfect. You got 3 on each ship.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep.
Now,
and then obviously with the Southern Cross, the 5-starred, the 5-pointed star, which is the corporate star, right?
yeah. I'm so glad you pointed out those ships a little bit more as well, because I'm fairly certain they're close to the banners of the Viking invaders of England back in around 700-800s.
Well, the ships, the depiction of the ships looks very close, more close to a Viking ship than an English ship.
Well, why the fuck has an English ship got fucking oars on it?
They never did, really, did they?
Never, no.
It was only the
Viking
Vikings.
longship has oars.
So the question is, who is it? The Vikings that are the English?
The Vikings are definitely English.
Yeah.
The English are definitely Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the name York comes from the name Jorvik, which is the name of what was his name? Harold the Boneless or something. And he was one of the big conquerors of England in the 800s. And so yeah, York comes from Jorvik, which is Scandinavian. And But then also, if we want to talk about that, most of the words that we use for like sky, mother, father, daughter, all of the like real basic sort of tribal words all come from Norse, basically in English. Like all your elemental words, your fire, your air, all of those are all based off Norse Norse words.
Water comes from there too. Is it water?
Yeah.
Air, water. Yeah, all those ones. Or as the Christians would call it, all comes from paganism, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. English is a mixed mash of, just very quickly, English is a mixed mash of Norse, Anglo-Saxon, so Germanic, and French. That's the bastardization of what English is today. So going back to that, I'm talking on this little sheepy here. So that sheep represents something called the Order of the Golden Fleece, which is this here. We can see here, a little sheep hung up by a hook. And the insignia there of a knight of the Order of the Golden Fleece of Spain. So that's the Spanish version of it. Now, I haven't done too much research because, man, there's just so much to research and it's fucking so hard out. But, you know, just little things that are popping out to me at the moment is you've got the Habsburgs of Austria down the bottom here, Philip the Good of Burgundy.
Bet you he wasn't good, eh?
Well, he's the one that came up with the order, bro. So fuck, of course he's good. Fuck. Oh, cool. We've actually got the current, the two branches of the order exist, namely the Spanish and the Austrian. Current Grand Masters are Philippe the Sixth, King of Spain, and Karl von Habsburg. I thought the Habsburgs died out of inbreeding, but no, it seems like they're still around to me.
Probably the Grand Master of Order, Charles II of Spain. Funny that name comes up too, Charles, eh?
On one hand, Charles, brother of the Holy Roman Emperor, claimed the crown. See, it's all got to do Holy Roman Empire, yeah. Basically. That's essentially what I'm getting at. Holy Roman Empire.
All roads lead to Rome.
Yeah, they're just continuing the Roman power struggle. But what? And again, what time did it fuck out? I don't know.
See there, but see, like, just like look at the names that are there. Charles, brother of the Roman Empire. Philip. You know, like Philip of Bourbon. You got Elizabeth II there. You know, she's down there. Current knights of the order include Queen Elizabeth II. She's a current fucking knight of the order.
Oh, I'm fine. This one hasn't been updated yet.
She ain't. She dead, nigga.
Yeah, but look at that. Emperor Akihito of Japan. When the fuck was Japan an empire? Like, is it still an empire today?
I believe so. Japan is still an empire, I believe.
It. But like,
which includes which includes 33 noble men. Oh, and amongst 13 others. Like, so could that get even any more logistics in that one scene, in those two fucking paragraphs there?
It's too easy, eh? When it starts presenting itself. Like, that's the thing. When I first came across, when someone told me about this order, actually, that's who told me about it. I love to think back and remember, who was that who told me that? What was that random dude? Fuck, what happened to him? But yeah, so old Dutch guy who I used to be friends with on Facebook, unfortunately, he's gone back to Dutchland. And yeah, he doesn't talk about Kiwi politics anymore. He's probably a Freemason or something. I don't know. Just gave me this little bit of fucking knowledge. But I remember when he told me this, and I was like, wow, that's the most like elite fucking like secret order you could think of. The Freemasons ain't got shit on these cunts, basically.
But I didn't even. This is the first time I'm Golden Fleece of Spain.
So when we go to the next lot, which is the Knights of the Order of the Golden Fleece, we've got a list here of all of the people that were in it since its inception in 1430. Don't know who a lot of those guys are, but one that really struck me was, I don't know what made me go, I wonder who the dude was in 1840 when the treaty was signed. Boom. Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, Prince Consort of the United Kingdom. So that's Victoria's husband.
Which is 1841, which is the year after, which was the first year of the New Zealand Company was made official too.
So this is the German. This is Victoria's first cousin. This is when the Holy Roman Empire kind of really got their commercial fingers going on within New Zealand, if you ask me. That's how they got their they must have cast their spells and were able to put their symbolism directly into our shit, basically.
It's all kings and queens and dukes and
top dog niggas.
Yeah, this was like the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah, yeah. And they're all trying to chase this golden fleece. Now, I haven't really done much research on the golden fleece too. I really hope there's people out there that are going, oh, golden fleece. I've been waiting my whole life to just be able to know what the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
How it all fits in. I mean, and look at the next dude after that as well, William Alexander, Prince of Orange. He's another fucking top dude nigga.
King of
he
Sweden.
Was the one that was doing, the Dutch East India companies at the time.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yeah. Sorry. Later, King William III of the Netherlands.
You know how they say, when you're researching dodgy cunts, follow the wives. Yeah. But in terms of queens, well, you follow the husbands, eh? You figure out what they're up to, I suppose.
Well, we're in an inverted world, aren't we, at the moment, technically? So follow the husband.
So there's old Albie. He's out of it looking dude too. A real piercing eyes there.
Just looks like a clone, eh?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Like this, like not being a dick, but when I look at some of these old, like back then photos, I'm like, you can't I don't know whether it's just the type of your 4K didn't work too well back then, or your 1080 didn't work back too well back then, but it just kind of looked clonish to me.
Well, I mean, have you looked at King George VI, his brother Edward, and their father, and then their father's father? Bro, they all look fucking the same, like
so they're like cloned off a clone.
Yeah, the Queen's the only one that kind of, it's like, where did you come from, Queenie? You kind of look different. She's the only one with brown eyes. Where did the brown eyes come from?
Yeah, true.
Oh, the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother's got brown eyes. She's quite dark. What's she, a Bowles, Parker Bowles or something, eh?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. All right, Albert, what have we got with Albert here? Oh, Mr. Clone.
Well, I don't know too much about this, but as I say, he was the first cousin of Victoria. So I don't, I haven't done too much on his whakapapa really, but he's from Hanover, which is in Germany. I did have a picture of when I had stopped in Hanover when I was doing my European trip, and on the main bell tower there's a big fucking upside down 5-pointed star on like the main royal bell tower thing, and I was just like, you can Google it. I've got a picture somewhere, but so the minute I saw that, I was like, who the fuck, who's the fucking cunt who's into occult shit, who fucking took over the royal families and shit, man? Because I'm fairly certain that's kind of what's happened, and that's why they made the Inquisitions, so that they could destroy all the other witches all over the world, and just have them installed as the house head witches or evil cunts or whatever. Sorry, witches out there. Not all of you are evil.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know. It's just an easy term, all right, to
Yeah.
use. Call yourself someone else, like fucking Corey or something. I don't know. But so Albert, his original name, that's not his original name. I've seen something else there. Ernest Augustus is something that I've seen, but he pretty much ran the realm while Queenie was knocking up kids. Because how many did she have? Nine or something.
Nine kids there, so she was pumping them out.
So it was him that was looking after the realm until he died. And he died young, or did he die young? That sort of stuff. And I was doing some research the other day on Balmoral because it was Albert there who purchased Balmoral for the family as a private residence. Now, Balmoral is different to Windsor Castle. Balmoral is a private residence within their own thing. Windsor Castle was a crown residence. They're different.
Yep.
So I know I should have all of these ready. I'm sorry out there, Fano. So I was searching around the area of Balmoral.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this pyramid till I saw you put it back up. I was like, "Fuck,
oh,
that's
did you
right."
know about it already?
Yeah. I forgot all about it. I forgot all about it, and I probably about 5-6 years ago. I remember looking at it, and it's because it's hidden away, isn't it?
Well, it must be on their own private estate, and it's called a ken, and a ken is somewhere where you'd bury your dead on top of a mound, or somewhere where you'd have a castle, in ancient Scottish. So yeah, very interesting memorial. Very unlike anything that anybody's ever done for anybody in England, but. At the time of Victoria, they were very interested in Egyptian stuff. And I also heard that Victoria was very worried about her children because it was Victoria who had the hemophilia mutation in her genetics. And they knew about genetics back then in the fucking 1850s, that she was passing this hemophilia onto her kids and that she was actually looking for alternative medicines and alternative stuff to heal her kids.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm wondering if that was her infatuation with just out of it things. I mean, the Victoria period in general is marked with the people being very, very interested with the occult, with Egypt, with anything different and exotic, basically. And the Queen always, royals always have a lot of influence on social situations. So
now,
my question being,
what year was this one? I don't know what year it was built. Do you know what year
it was built? The year after Prince Albert died, so I'm guessing 1862.
Okay, I was just having a look at some dates. That's all right. What do you know what that pyramid's called? Do they have a name for it? Or?
Well, it's called Prince Albert's Memorial.
See what we can find. Not too much. Not too much.
Not too much there?
No, there's not a hell of a lot on it. Oh, you bring up the the missing children.
I know. I was going, what's on my tabs? Oh shit. Oh god. Anyway, people must it's quite funny, eh? People can go, oh, what was he looking up?
Yeah, well, yeah, if you like I said at the start, if you want to go and have a look, have a look. 2014. Common law court.
So what's the connection with the golden fleece and this shit? You know? Because there's got to be something, I reckon. You know, I haven't found in particular, because the golden fleece, where are we? Is Greek. And it's all got to do with Jason and the Argonauts. And what did they think the fleece was able to do again? Can't remember. It was guarded by a serpent. It's all got to do with the 12 Olympians here. No, I'll come back with a bit more knowledge on this again.
I think in part 4 we'll hit that golden fleece. Pretty good. Yeah. Because there's got to be some huge significance for it to be on New Zealand's bloody coat of arms.
Of course.
You
know, it's not on Australians.
Yep, there you go.
You know, why just New Zealand?
Yeah, why is it on our coat of arms?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely come back with some more knowledge on that one. We were talking on Greek stuff the other day though, bro?
Yeah, we were.
Love that stuff.
It's just so like I know I know because we fucking go through so much shit, but it's just like there is so much shit out there, like history wise, like of trying to filter your way through it, that like people really have to use a lot of discernment when they start looking at these things and literally question fucking everything. Like everything. Like even if there's something out there that could be like the best thing ever, question it. And then question why you're questioning it. And that too, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's massive, bro. And these conversations here are only just the beginning of us to even trying to contemplate how to fit all of this into something that would make any comprehension for the world, because it all interrelates. And we're only sitting here, this is the third podcast we've done, and we're still only just scratching the surface. I mean, yeah. When people say, "Oh, you guys go pretty deep on stuff," like even I sit back and I'm like, "Man, it's not even. That's me just taking the top off." I mean, do we get into Rasputin and him, who was a definite occultist who was able to influence the Russian court and destroy the Russian court? I mean, that's a whole nother hour, 2 hours quartered on. Well, it's probably somewhere we can go in that next episode, is maybe get some of those figures, pull some of those figures out and really concentrate on some of those people and build a picture, because we're building a picture on what, in all honesty, we're building a picture on what Europe like before it brought its shit to New Zealand, in a sense. Yep. And I'll tell you what, Fano, for everyone that hasn't been to Europe or experienced the whenua there from a Māori perspective, or if you guys can understand that, when I traveled Europe, I was mamai. I was extremely sad for the people. Not because of the things that they've done or the blood that was spilt in the wars and stuff like that, but purely for the fact that their land had been drained of spiritual power, completely and utterly drained. I'd gone to 2,000-year-old churches and felt more mana in a church up the road in bloody Pangaru than what I would have done in that 2,000-year-old church in Rome. And I guess as people who have been oppressed, as people who understand that we've been fucked over, so have they. Oh, yeah. Yep. I agree 100% with you on that.
just, I can't tell you what to do, but you've got to go over there and just feel that how drained it is. And then you can understand why a German person gets up every day, goes to work, comes home, and that's all they fucking do. You know, and they got their little, you know, little hobby, and then that's that. It's because everything has been drained from their whenua. Everything.
Well,
They're doing it to here.
Yeah, they're doing it here now, and that's what they've because they've tried to create a little England, obviously little England down here. But that's one thing I've always said is like you've got to feel, you know, there's people out there that still push this narrative of Māori and Pākehā, like it's just we're separate, when in fact we're not separate anymore. We haven't been separate for a long time. We've been together for a long time. Well, you know, not a long time, but a decent amount of time now. There isn't any way of splitting us up. It's about working together. Like Māori's coming in and saying, "Oh, well, Māori's going to take this back, and Māori's going to take that back." And mate, like, what's her name in Parliament at the moment? Debbie, what's her name? She's more Irish than Māori.
Yeah.
You know, so you know the fact is we've got to really say, okay, this shit happened. Yep, it happened. How can we fix it from now on out? How can we make this shit work from here on out? Not fucking, oh, well, we want our own ward in politics, or we want our own fucking government. How about we fucking work together?
Yeah.
Like, and everything that's out there is just history. I don't know. I get frustrated at times.
That's totally true, bro. And I'll put this across to you, all you Maoris out there that are worried about your whenua being stolen here in New Zealand. The fact that you've got Pākehā ties of Pākehā whakapapa is that you've got land on the other side of the world that you have blood ties to as well. You are forgetting that you have interest on the other side of the planet. You are forgetting that you have whakapapa there. You are forgetting that you have the ability to help and heal the other side of the world because of those connections that have already happened in this country. And you know, you and I have talked about it plenty of times, and I love the country that I grew up in. I do, and it was never because of my marae. My marae wasn't the thing that made me love this country. It was the fact that I grew up with Pākehā, I grew up with Asians, I grew up with all sorts of people, and those coming together and understandings and those tolerances are what made this country the wonderful thing it is, and the innovative country that it is. And the Kiwi culture that is so renowned all over the world as being hard workers, friendly, accommodating, you know, fucking know how to sink piss like no tomorrow. It is all about the coming together of two cultures, you know, and it's never been about the splitting of those two cultures. That's not what's made this country, this culture, this Kiwi culture great. It's the coming together of those two people, and that's what we need to be proud of. Stop being so mummy about the pain. We're not going to go nowhere.
Agree, bro. Fucking agree. Like 110%. Like it's the only way forward from here on out. And you know, it's to learn from the stuff, you know, that we're trying to teach everyone out there, the history of the world, so that people understand the way that the world works and the way that it worked, I should say.
Yeah.
And how we got to the position that we're in today. Doesn't matter if something bad happened, something good happened. We are here because of those events, no matter whether good or bad. And also good or bad is just a perception of the person that's looking at it. So what is good and what is bad?
You know, and if we apply that to politics, you know, what is good and what is bad? Is democracy good? Is monarchy good, or is it bad? Democracy's been shit. Communism's pretty scary. You know,
Socialism's fucked.
Socialism's fucked. They've all got great points. You know, one thing people do need to talk about out there, you know, really think deeply at the moment is what is going to function for us leading into the future now. Don't get stuck on old systems of governance in your mind, you know, republics and all of that stuff, because Rome's republic fell, Athens republic fell, America, which is a modern republic, well,
it's about to go bang.
Yeah, these are the things that we need to talk about now, and you know, they've stripped that from us. That's one thing they've stripped from us, is we don't even know what effective leadership looks like anymore. Bastards. Yeah.
Thanks, Jacinda.
Yeah. Oh.
No, not just her anyway. There's a few others that we can blame too, but it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we'll probably leave it up there for this one, Corey.
Much love, homie. That was me.
There was another fucking nice little corridor in between, and I know that, you know, I know that we've got a little bit more to touch on, bro, but we had to sort of skip and dart because we knew that there was a subject that needed to be spoken on. So, and I'm glad that I could sit down and speak to it with you, bro, because obviously you know a lot more about the history, you know, than the general public out there. So, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. Now, you know, same goes.
In honesty, I was really struggling getting together corridor and that for our original topic, bro. So, you know, I was wondering what the heck was going on there, to be honest. And
yep,
the whole week, you know, this last week, everything got pushed back, everything got changed, and just is what it is. And you know what Bruce Lee says: "Be like water, everybody."
And there you go. There's Corey being like water.
Much love, everybody.
All right, now everyone knows the drill. You know, out there, I hope that you guys, you know, took something in or could learn something from something that we've spoken about today, or you just resonate with what we speak about. Just want to say thank you again, Corey. I appreciate your time, bro. You know, like I always say, time is the most important thing that we have. So appreciate you giving me your time. To everyone out there, I hope you guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good lunchtime, nighttime, wherever you are, wherever you may be. I hope that you guys are having an amazing time, all right, and everything's all good over there. So just remember, you're all perfectly imperfect. You are all beautiful. You are all loved, all right? It's a mind game. This is a mind war. We just got to get through this, and the more that we keep exposing things, the more that we will start stepping forward in this mind war. So go out there, trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and the most important thing on this journey is to go out there and remember who the fuck you are. Because when you go out there and remember who the fuck you are, no one can take that power back from you. No one can take it back, and all the power is in your court. So anyway, we're going to love yous and leave yous. We appreciate yous all. So from Wayde's World and Huck of the Beehive, ka kite for now.